Auburn football's 2024 quarterback commit decommitted from the Tigers a few days ago. It's now time to talk about what that means for them going forward into the 2024 recruiting class and beyond for that quarterback room here on E2C Network Live. Good morning, Auburn fans, family, E2C Network family. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, spending some time talking about something in the Auburn family spectrum. We always tend to be heavy on the sports here on this channel, but if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. And thank you so much for joining us. So for you, the people that have been here for quite some time, you know the drill, but let me give how things work to everybody else. What I'd love for you to do to start off the show is use this as your check-in period. Post where you're watching from, your city, your state, international, just like we had someone from the United Arab Emirates yesterday or 2 days ago. Check in. Always want to know who's here and where you're calling in from with a War Eagle. And do me a huge favor right now. And as you come into the stream, live on the replay, smash that like button. It does help our stream out and helps people know that they should come check this out live or on the replay. As you do all those things, we're going to get into what we want to discuss today. Adrian Posse, I think is how you pronounce it, left a few days ago. I know this is a little bit of old news, but we're going to use this to kind of move into a discussion I've been wanting to have, and we just had other things to talk about. What does it mean next for the Auburn quarterback room in terms of recruiting, in terms of the future of who's going to be playing, all that kind of stuff? And this is where we can get into some of that speculation about transfers and all that kind of thing. All of that is wrapped up here on this stream, and we're going to tackle that right here. As a reminder, this is about a 15 to 20 minute live stream discussion. So this won't be quick hitting information, more so just an open discussion in a little bit of a shorter live stream format. So let me say hello to a bunch of you already here. Thank you so much. Tyrone, John, Michael, Rise Life. Good to see you guys. John's also here, says rumor has it that a new QB is coming to Auburn from Florida. No name at the moment. There are rumors abounding galore. That's the reason that, not using John to pick on him or anything like this, but I do not get super hyped up about, especially these days, quarterback rumors, because every person and their mother has been linked, told that they were coming to Auburn, and for whatever reason they're not coming to Auburn now. I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens and being thankful for who we have at the moment in especially Robbie Ashford, who is for now the heir apparent, and many others that we have on staff. But I'm open and excited for what it could mean for the future for next season if somebody comes in, but also for the coming season. And that's where we want to get into this. Adrian Posse decided to decommit this past weekend, so it is a few days removed from that actual news, and we're just now kind of using that to discuss it at this point. Big Val even points out it was better for both parties. So if you read all of the traditional media sites that did the stories about it, that you're going to see that storyline, that it was a mutual parting. And this is not surprising, right? This is something that happens when you have a transition from a new head coach to another, to a new head coach, his way of doing things, especially an offensive head coach. Maybe if this was a defensive head coach that came in, he might say, well, look, they may have brought in somebody to fit my skill set or fit how I like to do things or fit what I was recruited for. Not so much the case here. So they do part ways, and I will share with you what he posted on there, obviously from his Twitter account, not his Instagram. I wanted to give a special thanks to Coach Brian Harsin, Coach Eric Keesaw, and Coach Rock Bellatoni, as well as Auburn University, for all they have done for me. However, after thorough and careful consideration with my family, I have decided to decommit from Auburn and reopen my commitment. So there you have it. We are moving off from him. He is moving off from us. And that is what the news is for that. But what does that mean for the quarterback room going forward? To answer that, we need to obviously remind everybody of who's here right now and what that could mean going forward. Right now, your quarterback room, in terms of legitimate, ready, I won't say legitimate, it's not a good word. In terms of guys who are most likely going to have the opportunity to have a shot at starting. You've obviously got Robbie Ashford, the heir apparent, who will be a redshirt sophomore, I believe will be his classification. You'll have TJ Finley, which we've covered on a previous live stream. By most people's assumptions, will be leaving after he graduates this spring and is just kind of hanging around to wrap that part of his time with Auburn up. That's the assumption, but he's still here for now, who would be a senior. You've also got Holden Gerner, who's going to be a redshirt freshman, and Hank Brown, who will come in as a true freshman, probably going to redshirt if I'm betting. So those are your likely candidates. You've got some others that are on some walk-ons and things like that are on the roster still that we're not really going to get into. But so right now you have four viable candidates for quarterback that could potentially be there. Rise Life said Robbie Ashford will shock people and believe it. That dude can run. And I think everybody knows that he can run. I think one of our concerns for a lot of fans is his ability to throw. But what I would counter to that argument is he has not been given enough time or development to show what he actually can do. We've seen some really good flashes of what he can do throwing the ball as well. So we'll just have to wait and see for him and see how this thing shakes out. Here's what I do know. Competition makes everything better. It's how we kind of weed things out. It's how we get to the point where we find out what's best for us, for the individual player. These guys shouldn't shy away from competition. And Robbie and TJ have, not been any stranger to that. Was Zach Calzada brought into the mix, Holden brought into the mix last year. So all of these guys are used to the competition factor. So even if someone comes in, it shouldn't be that big a deal for them because they know what they have to do. But Robbie should be considered the heir apparent. Has Posse been picked up? I don't know. He's from South Florida, so I would be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if he went to a school in the Florida area. That's just my assertion. Good to see you, Devin. Thanks for being here. Michael says, I think that we'll get a transfer after the spring that may be a splash, but not necessarily a good thing. But not necessarily a good thing. So we would get him, but it wouldn't be a good thing. Why wouldn't we get him why would we get him if he wasn't a good thing? Maybe I'm misunderstanding your statement there. That's what a lot of people are assuming now. The transfer portal window technically closes, I think it's today or tomorrow. So a lot of people are now moving their attention away from transfer quarterback stuff. It closes let me back up. It closes in the sense that people need to enter by today, but you can commit or transfer at any time once you're in it. So really it becomes a waiting game at this point for the spring in terms of people making decisions where they want to go. You're going to see quarterback battles happen throughout all the country, and you're going to see people want to better their situation. So maybe that's what will happen. Then we'll see. It was 2 quarterbacks we are looking at since he's decommitted. Yes. So the other big question about this, if it's not a transfer quarterback, right? If it's not someone, Grayson McCall was out there, Spence Sanders was out there that we're bringing in, who are you going to fill with the quarterback that you were planning to bring in for this next cycle, for the 2024 cycle? To me, there's at least 2 names out there that have been, brought up a lot by media members and the traditional recruiting sites. You'll hear Walker White, who's committed to Ole Miss, or excuse me, Crystal Ball to Ole Miss. Most people are expecting him to commit to Ole Miss, which is another ironic thing in the whole Auburn and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is mad at Auburn situation. We did a live stream about that. That is interesting, doing very well because the Ole Miss fans got fired up about it. So there's that part of it as well that you've got to consider. And then another one in Air Noland from Langston Hughes High School up in Georgia, which is, I believe, where Terrence Love is from, our current safety commit, and is part of the team now. So there's a connection there, at least with him for the future. So that's where a lot of people are pointing their attention, not so much to the next transfer quarterback coming in any minute, but how will the spring shake out? What will it tell us from A-Day? And then who would become available then? maybe for help this upcoming season, and potentially then what do we shift our attention to in terms of 2024? Who's going to be that quarterback commit that we start shifting our focus to? Because again, you want to always assume the best of the guys that are here, but you always want to prepare for the future. So if you bring in a guy in the 2024 cycle, you can effectively redshirt him and let some of the other guys have their shot at things. And then he's a good 2 years away from having a shot at legitimately starting. So that's kind of my breakdown of where we're at quarterback wise. What do you guys think in terms of your impressions of the quarterback room, where we're at post Adrian Posse departure, what that means for 2024, transfer quarterback, all that kind of stuff. Leanne says, what if he likes what Hugh is selling, and what if Hugh likes TJ's size and just watches the 21 Iron Bowl? I think it's unfair to judge either quarterback behind past year's O-line. I was at Penn State and it was ugly. Yes, it was ugly. Let me clarify too. I agree with the notion that judging any quarterback based off of playing behind the offensive line over the past few seasons is, you got to take that with a grain of salt. However, we have 2 seasons of TJ, even behind that line. And even with that known, you kind of know what you're getting with TJ. I'm not saying that can't change. And I'm still rooting for the kid as long as he wants to be an Auburn Tiger, which may or may not be a long time. But for me, I've seen a lot of what I need to see. Doesn't mean we can't all be proven wrong about that. Robbie has just got here. And Robbie has got still a lot to figure out as a young guy, a lot of habits that he can still break much more easier than older guys. So I'm not dismissing TJ, but I'm also not going to sit here and say that TJ is the heir apparent. I think Robbie is the heir apparent just because of how the season ended. John Colvin, yes, the new walk-on is also part of the mix, but again, a walk-on, you will, no offense to the walk-ons, I was a former walk-on in basketball myself. You're very rarely going to see them enter into the mix at all. And if they do, that's either really crazy that we didn't notice them beforehand, or really crazy that we just had that many injuries. Ant Robinson, I think Holden and Robbie will do great whoever starts. The only reason you bring in a quarterback is because you need a backup for them. And so that might be the case, right? And when we answer the question, what does the decommitment of Adrian Posse mean for the future of this room? TJ, the speculation is that he's going to leave. Maybe you still go bring someone in this cycle, a transfer quarterback who wants to come in as another backup, or, still come in and compete for the job, but understanding that he's got an uphill battle to work with. But right now, TJ's still part of that mix, so he factors into that equation at least, in the very least. Hopefully Robbie can get healed up. Hopefully all our quarterbacks don't have to have a season like they did last year and just get banged up, beat up, just picked on, and can get some protection and opportunities to do a little bit more with their skills other than just run from a pass rush. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? So of the ones out there, if you guys have an opinion about any 2024 guys that can replace Adrian Posse in the next class, who would you pick? There's Aaron Noland out there, Walker White, and there's another one, I think William something, is out there as well that's been kind of speculated on and talked about. I always like connections. And so the fact that we already have Terrence Love here as a safety, and he was going to be a former teammate of his, to me, I like that. So I like our chances there now that we have a connection. And I like, from what I understand, Aaron Noland being kind of a bigger bodied but mobile quarterback guy could flourish under Hugh Freeze. So that's kind of what, I'm looking forward to. Hopefully no quarterback has to tweet out. I'm not sure what that means, but anyway. All right. So here's what we're going to do. At the end of our show, we always want to give you updates on what's coming up, but I want to still hear from you guys on this topic, things related to it. So post those right now while I'm giving you the rundown of what to expect. Next scheduled live stream would be tomorrow morning again at 8:30 Eastern time again. So I hope you guys can join us or watch the replay. Probably going to talk something about Auburn basketball's first third of the SEC schedule, unless some other big news comes up that we want to discuss. So be looking for that. Your other next scheduled live stream will be the post-game reaction show for Auburn versus South Carolina. Don't miss that. We've had some good shows lately with a lot of good conversation on it. As always, check out the links in the description for ways that you can help support our content. You need to be a subscriber to be at that giveaway. You need to be a channel member. You can be a booster club member. Both of those things start at $1 a month. There's other things in there that you can look at to help support us financially. But the biggest thing that you can do is just be here, smash the like button. You can obviously tell others about us and help grow our little family within the Auburn family. John says almost bedtime. I forget that you work weird hours, but I appreciate you staying up to hang out with us, John. Rise Life, we're not going to get into the Frank statue here necessarily, since that's not football related, but obviously that's coming very soon, and we're excited about that. More detail when we get more details about that, we will discuss it. So, in kind of summary, Posse gone. Wish him the best. Hate it didn't work out, but you can understand why the kid left. Lots of options still available at Auburn. We're going to let the spring shake out, it seems like. Maybe even still bring someone in and then figure it out from there. And then we start looking towards 2024 and who could be the quarterback of the future there. To me, my money and my direction of focus would be Aaron Noland, but that's just me. And I'm not the coaches, and that's why I don't focus on that. And they're the much better decision makers on that. Again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this morning, spending some time talking about this topic that's important to the Auburn family. And again, we'll do this on Friday morning at 8:30 Eastern time in the morning for another edition of Good Morning Auburn. Until then, thank you guys for being here, and War Eagle.